Welcome to Stories That Hurt. Here, we share stories that touch the heart, stories that invite you to pause, feel, and reflect. Born at the wrong time, he was born in February 2010. When outside the maternity hospital, it was slippery and gray, and the television silently showed news about a change of president, about promises of a better tomorrow that no one believed in anymore. Alina looked at the baby wrapped in a blanket and waited for something right to happen to her. For her heart to tighten, for her to cry, for her to feel the love everyone talked about. Nothing happened. The doctor said, "Congratulations. You have a healthy boy." Alina nodded, as if she had been told the weather forecast. She wasn't a monster. She simply wasn't a mother at that moment and never really became one later. Her life didn't stop because of the child, but because of the feeling of a trap. In 2010, she already knew there would be no career, no freedom, no lightness. There would be schedules, bills, and crying. The boy grew up in silence, not in cold, in emptiness. She did everything she was supposed to do, but never what she wanted to do. And children need the second one. When he first said, "Mom," she adjusted his hat. When he reached for her with his arms, she handed him to his father. When he fell asleep, there were no fairy tales in the room, only light from the hallway. The father tried, but fatigue and work consumed him faster than he could notice how his son was learning to be. Invisible. In 2010, everyone around said, "The main thing is that the child is fed." No one said, "The main thing is that the child is awaited." Diary. Age 10, I don't remember what it was like when I was born. But it seems to me that Mom wasn't waiting for me even then. I often think, what if I hadn't come? Maybe it would have been easier for her. I try not to be in the way. A child who doesn't cry in kindergarten, the teachers praised him. Such a well-behaved boy. Never complains. Alina was proud of this. She didn't understand that. Children don't stay quiet for no reason. He learned early not to cry. Crying meant drawing attention. And attention was dangerous. It could be irritating. When he was sick, she left the medicine on the table. When he was afraid of the dark, she closed the door. When he asked, "Do you love me?" she answered, "Don't make things up." In 2013, the father left. Quietly, without scenes. He just packed his things and said, "I can't live where everyone is silent." The boy stood in the hallway and watched the door close. He didn't cry. He thought, so being silent is normal. After that, he began to disappear. Not physically, inside. He spoke less, looked into eyes less, wanted less. Alina didn't notice. It was convenient for her. Diary. Age 10, when Dad left, I thought it was because of me. Mom became even quieter. I learned how to sit so that no one would see me. Sometimes it seems to me that I am transparent. An escape without a road. At 9 years old, he didn't come home right after school for the first time. He sat on the stairwell steps until evening, watching people return to their apartments. No one asked, "Who are you?" And that was the most painful thing. He didn't run far. He had nowhere to go. It wasn't an escape from home. It was an escape from the feeling that there was no home for him. When Alina noticed he was gone, she didn't panic. She got irritated. "Where were you?" He shrugged. He didn't know what to answer. Diary. Age 10, I thought that if I disappeared, she would notice. But when I came back, nothing changed. Maybe I'm disappearing the wrong way. A thought that arrives quietly. It didn't happen after shouting. Not after beatings. Not after a tragedy. It happened on an ordinary day. At school, the teacher asked, "Why didn't you turn anything in again?" He stood by the desk, staring at the floor. He had done the assignment. He had just forgotten the notebook at home. Forgotten, because in the morning, Mom said, "Stop spinning around. I'm late," and he stopped thinking about the notebook. He stopped thinking about himself. "You're always like this," the teacher said. "As if you're not even here." The class laughed. Not at him, past him. The laughter had no address, but he felt it. It was about him. During recess, he sat in the bathroom on the toilet lid, covered his ears, and waited for the bell. It was quiet there. No one touched him there. And it was there, between the tiles and the smell of soap, that a thought came to him for the first time. One that didn't scream, "What if I wasn't here?" Not to die, not to do something, just not to be, without explanations, without apologies, without the need to bother anyone. He imagined a morning without him. Mom getting ready faster. No silence at the table, more space in the apartment, and that thought, it brought relief. He didn't get scared right away. First, he felt calm. Diary. Age 10 today, I thought that it would be easier if I wasn't here. Not sad, not scary, just quiet. I don't want pain. I just don't want to be extra. After that, he began to live more carefully. Not because he was afraid, but because he was checking. Would they notice if I became even smaller? He ate more slowly, spoke less, stayed at school longer, and every time the world answered the same way. Nothing changed. That was the cruelest confirmation of his thought. A thought that becomes background after that day, the thought didn't disappear. It didn't return sharply, it settled in. It was with him in the grocery store line while his mother silently tossed items onto the conveyor belt. It was with him in bed while the TV worked behind the wall. It sat next to him in math class when the teacher talked about the future. The future, a word that meant nothing to him. He didn't imagine himself as an adult. Not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't see a place for himself there when other children argued, cried, demanded. He looked at them like people from another planet. They had the right to be loud. He didn't. Alina noticed only that it was convenient when he didn't interfere. See? She once told a neighbor, "Mine is no problems at all, He stood nearby and thought, I am the problem. Just a quiet one. In the evening, he stared at the ceiling for a long time, counting cracks. Not to fall asleep, but not to think. Because when he didn't think, it was easier. Diary. Age 10, this thought is always with me now. It doesn't push. It just says, you're not needed here. And I almost believe it. Escape, he didn't plan it. 10-year-olds rarely plan escapes. It was a morning when his mom said, another bad grade? You embarrass me. She didn't shout. She just said it and left. He sat on the bed and realized he couldn't come back here today. He took his jacket. No money, no plan. Went outside and walked. The city was big and indifferent. As always, he walked for a long time. Sat in the yard, then at a bus stop. No one paid attention to the boy with slumped shoulders. That confirmed his thought better than any words. By evening, he was cold, and he realized a terrible thing. He had nowhere to go. But going home wasn't an option either. He came back late. Alina was angry. Where were you? Walking, he said. She exhaled with relief. Not because she worried, but because she didn't have to explain anything. Diary. Age 10, I thought that if I left, they would look for me. But it seems I just stayed out late. Maybe I can disappear even more. When a child wants to stop. Being it happened at night. He lay listening to his mother moving around the apartment. Closets, dishes, phone. He thought, if I'm gone, her life will be quieter. The thought no longer scared him. It seemed logical. He didn't want pain. He didn't want a scene. He wanted everything to end before it even started. And in that moment, he cried for the first time, quietly, into the pillow so no one would hear. Because even crying felt shameful to him. Diary. Age 10, I don't want to die. I just don't want to live like this. If life is when no one sees you, then maybe it's better not to live at all. In the morning, he woke up tired. Not physically, emotionally. At school, he fainted, not from illness, from the exhaustion of being invisible. That was when the system noticed him for the first time. When the truth is heard, but not listened to, he woke up on a couch in the nurse's office. The world was white and loud. The nurse spoke quickly, as if afraid to stay near him longer than necessary. Overwork. Nothing serious, she said to Alina without even looking at the boy. All kids are nervous these days. Alina nodded. She liked that explanation. It didn't require change. The school psychologist asked her to talk to him alone. She spoke softly, carefully, as if walking on thin ice. Are you tired? He nodded. Is it hard for you at home? He shrugged. He didn't know how people tell the truth when no one has ever asked. Do you have thoughts that you're unnecessary? She asked. He looked out the window and honestly answered, all the time. The psychologist wrote something down. Then she said, your mother is very busy, but she tries. That was the sentence after which he understood. He hadn't been hurt again. At home, Alina said, don't make things up. You have everything. He didn't argue. He already knew. Having things doesn't mean being loved. That night he didn't sleep. He wasn't thinking about death. He was thinking about fairness. If I disappear, it will be fair. I won't be a burden. I won't be a mistake. And at the same time, something inside him held on. Thin, weak, but alive. Diary. Age 10, I told the truth to adults. They wrote it down but didn't take it with them. Maybe the truth isn't for everyone. Son's monologue. I am 10 years old. I don't remember being awaited. I don't remember being looked at with joy instead of fatigue. Mom, I know you didn't want to be bad. You just didn't want to be with me. I grew up in an apartment where you could live, but you couldn't be. I learned to be silent before I learned to speak. I learned to disappear before I ever truly appeared. When I think that it's better not to exist, it's not because I'm in pain. It's because it makes more sense. I don't ask for love. I don't even ask for an apology. I just want someone once to say, you were not unnecessary. If I ever become an adult, I will learn to look at children, because I wasn't beaten. I just wasn't seen. And that hurts longer. After the asylum, several days passed after he wrote his text. No one found it. No one read it. But something in him changed. Not the world. Himself. He was sitting in class when a new girl was seated next to him. She held her backpack with both hands, as if afraid to let it go. Have you been here long? She asked quietly. He nodded. Then, unexpectedly even for himself, he said, if you want, you can sit with me. She smiled. Just a little, carefully. And in that moment, he felt something new, warmth that demanded nothing in return. That same week, the literature teacher gave an assignment. Write the truth. Not a beautiful one, a real one. He wrote, not everything, but enough. The teacher read in silence. Then she put the notebook down and said, this matters. And you matter. She said it without pathos, as if it were a fact, not consolation. He didn't cry, but something in his chest loosened. Diary. Age 10, today one person said that I matter. She doesn't have to love me, but she saw me. Maybe that's enough not to disappear. That evening, he came home later than usual. Alina was sitting in the kitchen with his notebook in her hands. She had found it by accident while looking for a charger. She read slowly. And for the first time in 10 years, she cried, not quietly. Why were you silent? She asked hoarsely. He looked at her, calmly, without anger, because you never asked in a way that I could answer. It was the truth. And it struck harder than any accusation. Alina sat down across from him. She didn't justify herself. She didn't defend herself. I didn't know how to be a mother, she said. But that's not your fault. He listened. And for the first time, he didn't feel that he had to save her. The final truth from the son. I thought that something was wrong with me. But the truth is different. Sometimes adults break too. Sometimes they are silent because they don't know any other way. It doesn't make the pain smaller, but it makes it understandable. I still remember how I wanted to disappear. But now I know that thought came not because I was unnecessary, but because I was alone. And loneliness is not a sentence. It's a condition that can change. I wasn't saved right away, but they began to see me. And that turned out to be enough for me to stay. The END, this is not a story about a perfect mother, and not about a miraculous healing.